Hey guys, and welcome to a special edition of To Whom It May Concern. My husband is joining me, Jared.
Hey guys.
We asked if people would be interested in us doing a special marriage version of To Whom It May Concern. People seem to be interested. So we have a list of questions, but before we get to those, we just want to put out there the disclaimer. Here we go. You gotta find your windows and focus on what you guys like, what makes you each other happy, you know, what lights your spark.
Right, there's no specific sauce for that. You just gotta try stuff, see how it works.
This can be difficult because not so much as considering him dad, but me mom. That's huge. Like we used to have conversations all the time of like, I need a transition period. Like after being mom all day long and taking care of kids and taking care of house, or even in being employee and just all of these hats that we wear, it was very hard for me to transition in the night to be like wife mode in terms of like sexy mode, because it says to the detriment of like romance. That transition was hard for me, but I will say, in figuring that out about myself, that I need a transition, figuring that out about myself and then sharing that with him, he was really receptive. Well, like at first, not so. But once he really understood what I meant, he was really receptive to it and honestly started helping me with that process.
Yeah, I'm always trying to be her daddy. No, that's not me contradicting the point I made earlier about not wanting to be their dad.
No, he's daddy.
Come on, talk to me now, girl. God, if you're gonna talk, you might as well talk. I think I got a taste of that now, of needing a transition before going right into intimacy. I think now that we're in a different entrepreneurial space and you're home, I'm home a lot. Like I said, I do a lot of the more day-to-day, more house managerial tasks. And at the end of the day, sometimes I would rather chill or just not have to do anything work-wise for a while. I can understand how she felt before I didn't have quite a grasp on it as I do now that I'm going through it myself. But I do think that it's going to be one of those things that, once again, you're going to have to try to see what works for yourself and adjust the taste of your sauce as necessary. Taste and adjust.
I like that.
Taste and adjust.
You season your sauce how you like it.
Yeah. That's your business.
Because that's your business. We're quoting Tabitha Brown, if you guys don't know. It is. That's your business. And I think the biggest thing is to try stuff, though. Somebody told me before that, like, taking a bath and stuff really helped them transition and, like, release the day so that they could be in that kind of mode for their husband. There's other people who... Why is that funny?
I'm sorry. When you said take a bath, I'm not gonna say what I do because that's a little too revealing. I do understand that.
Okay. Or we use other things. I guess they're all kind of like decompressing things. Anything that you do that could really just help you decompress. What do you do, boo-boo?
No.
Oh, then why are you...
What? Why was that the first thing you went to?
Because that's what you're making it seem weird.
No, I like to manscape.
Oh. That helps you transition.
That helps me transition. That is like, I'm preparing it for you. Listen,
I won't judge it. Whatever you gotta do.
I like to manscape. I do.
We appreciate that transparency and vulnerability right now.
I mean, I was gonna keep it to myself, but you just kept
you kept being so weird about it. I thought
it's just funny that I do that I didn't even realize that I do that as a way to transition into.
Yeah.
It might happen tonight.
Yeah.
Let me manscape because I know that women scape.
Yeah, we womenscape.
Yeah.
If you see, that's like,
Well, at least I know you do. I don't know about any other woman. I'm only talking about mine. I have no clue what any other woman does.
but yeah, that's just not a decompressed thing to me though. That's more like a chore to me. But I could understand though how, like, you know, because I feel like sometimes we play in makeup for fun. No,
I'm not decompressing. I'm transitioning.
Oh, this is your transition.
Yeah.
So it doesn't decompress, it just transitions.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You decompress.
Maybe a woman. Okay. I was gonna say maybe for a woman, maybe we need pre-decompress time. I do feel like we take on a lot of people's problems throughout the day, even ones that don't have nothing to do with us. And so it makes it hard at the end of the day to then unload all of that, to be in a space where you just want to enjoy your husband. And that's honestly, I feel like that's what gets us into the trap as wives too, where sex starts to feel like a chore. I know that's not for everybody, but a lot of women though, when you do have so much on your plate, it very easily can become like a chore, but you don't want to neglect him. And then like he said earlier, it becomes like something you're trying to do out of discipline. Like, I need to make sure he gets it, you know, this many times, or I need to make sure
she gets it
this many times, or however. It can become a discipline when you feel like you want to meet their needs, but you feel overwhelmed. And that's what he was talking about before, with just like kind of taking off all of those rules and stuff and just enjoying each other, making sure you two enjoy it, whether you're having it 5 times a week or 1 time a week or 5 times a month, you know what I mean? However that works out so that you're enjoying each other.
I would rather have great sex 5 times a month than sex 25 times a month. I want us both to be into it. I want it to be good
and fun.
Somebody told me a while ago that men are like microwaves and women are like crock pots. But the older I'm getting, I feel myself turning more into a crock pot. I am. I'm not always raring and in the mood like I used to be. Like, my needs for sex have changed, and my frequency desire has changed a lot.
And that's where we're at now. That doesn't mean that won't change.
Right.
It just means
we got little kids too.
Man, we have 4 young children.
And the last one is...
he's a blessing.
And a curse.
Jared. He's a blessing.
He's rough. He's our roughest kid. He is. He does not.
I love my baby.
His sleep pattern is rough. It was rough. It's gotten a lot better.
It makes it, but yeah, so it makes it very difficult. So we focus on quality over quantity.
Yeah.
We realize, and for us too, for our lives, like making it a whole ordeal and really enjoying it with each other makes everything else flow more smoothly too. But the question was how to avoid considering each other as mom and dad to the detriment of your romance. Do you ever feel like that? Like on the flip side, like seeing me as mom and not wife?
No.
I can say maybe we just haven't experienced that yet.
There's
stuff
that
changes.
There's that, and I just don't think that just may not be our battle.
Yeah.
That just may not be our battle. Some people have certain battles and some people don't.
We have a lot of fun too. We're a lot more easygoing. Those are things like when we were younger, we were a lot more tense and high strung.
Yeah.
As we get older too, we have a lot more fun with each other. So we experience each other more as husband and wife and like friends and just like enjoying each other more than like all of the heavy stuff. I do think that maybe the opposite is true, especially when we have a grand vision, which is Christ up, but then we both have individual visions and pursuits that we do. Sometimes trying to remember that, hey, your mom and dad, and really focusing in on the kids, setting time aside with the kids. When I made my schedule, my proposed schedule, I left a day open that was just for us being a family. Sometimes when you're in the pursuit of trying to do something, kids can get neglected,
and can get lost. And sometimes that will come back to bite your relationship with your children, because at the end of the day, they do not care about any of that stuff.
Right.
They don't. Will they understand it as they become adults and try to have a family and try to do things on their own? Sure. But it will hurt you guys' relationship to just completely neglect your children in pursuit of whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, I think remembering the fact that we're mom and dad at the end of the day, sometimes when we get in the bed, all our kids want to pile up in the bed. It doesn't matter how old they are. From 2 to 12, all want to get in the bed and be next to their mom and dad. So sometimes for me, remembering that and giving them their time with us, no matter what time it is.
While we have them. While they're living with us and still children and need all of that time and attention.
Because honestly, that sexual need, it can wait. Because we're adults. We manage our needs a lot better than children do. Yeah. So they can wait. When the kids just want to be around us, sometimes we just drop everything and we give them that time because they need it. And we don't want them to be lost in the sauce, to be like, oh, look at this grand thing we've built, but your house is in shambles and your kids resent you and hate you for it. And now their lives are altered because the investment wasn't put into them.
In all honesty, even when in our separation, it was very difficult. It was a very difficult time for us both individually and together, but there was never any question about how things were done with the kids, ever.
Yeah.
If I needed him to have them, he had them. There was never anything that interrupted our kids' life, like in a grand way, I guess. Does that make sense?
Except our life was torn apart and I was dying on the inside. So I probably wasn't mentally the greatest in the world.
No, but I'm just saying that we didn't have custody battles and issues, and there was no fighting over our kids or nothing like that. I like that because to me, it kind of just showed that our dedication and commitment to raising our kids in a healthy way is consistent whether we're beefing or not.
Well, I'll just say this too. Thank God it only lasted 6 months. I don't know the man I would have been if it was longer than that. And that's all I'll say.
Dramatic. Okay. That has been one of the hardest parts of our marriage to me, if I'm being totally honest, is learning how to grow as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, as a child of God, simultaneously, and not having the choice. Once I got pregnant, I made that choice. Once we got married, I made that choice. So once I made those choices, being just kind of young and thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, at that point, I entered in to this whole thing, and it is crazy difficult trying to grow in all of those aspects. And what usually ends up happening is no matter how hard you fight it, you usually can only really commit to one at a time, and so the other ones suffer. I think that's kind of what led to us falling apart after those first 5 years, is because I didn't have time to grow me in the way that I needed to and stuff, because I was so focused on trying to be mom because these kids are already here, trying to be the Christian because I'm already saved, trying to be the wife because I'm already married, and you feel like you're constantly playing catch up. And so this has been one of the hardest ones to me. At first, it's just a struggle. It's continually a struggle, but I guess at first it's like a super struggle trying to juggle all those things, which is why if you have the option, do them one at a time.
Right.
Obviously, you can always combine a relationship with God in anything, because as a believer, in all of your growth, God has his role and place in it. So any of these can be combined with your relationship with God. But the other ones, if you can just focus on your relationship with God right now, man, do that. And then once you feel like you have a handle on who you are and stuff, and kind of work through your own traumas and stuff, then maybe consider adding another person, and then work through all of that, and then maybe being a spouse or whatever, and then maybe worrying about being a parent, and then work through that. So you can do these things one at a time, because Lord have mercy, it just looks like a hot mess until you get there. Now we're finally starting to see where all of the growth has paid off in our purpose. Like we're starting to see, we're like, whoa, like I've really changed in all of these areas. But I'm telling you, man, it couldn't have happened without God, because it is a hot mess.
Yeah, I think too, in a marriage, you gotta give your spouse that room to grow and yourself room to grow, and you guys not be on the same page, and being fine with allowing them to get it when they get it. Because one of the things that I've been taught by Bishop T.D. Jakes is my relationship with God is my business, and her relationship with God is her business. If we choose to share, share. If not, let that person have that. I think sometimes what people do when they're together, they grow in some way or receive a new perspective about something, then they rush to their spouse, they tell them, and if their spouse doesn't see eye to eye, it's a fight and an argument like you just didn't get it a second ago. I remember seeing Kanye run to Kim and talk to her about the way she dresses, but it was like for years you were styling her. For years, you were the one putting her in that stuff. You received a new perspective. Now you're rushing back to her, telling her to change, and she doesn't receive it the way that you want her to receive it. But then kind of just, you got to be able to know when to share, what to share, ask God when it's the right time, pray about it, stay in relationship and constant communication with Him, because that'll give you a peace about it too. Just the love and understanding for your spouse that, their growth track isn't my growth track. And we don't always have to be seeing eye to eye. We don't always have to be on the same page in the moment. Because there have been some things that she's told me for years that I didn't get till later. And even though she was hammering it home for all those years, I didn't get it until I got it. And there was a time for me to get it. God is given to people individually as they can receive. And you got to be patient with somebody else's time.
Yeah.
To be able to maintain oneness and a sense of self, you gotta be just willing to be flexible and flow.
Yeah. No. We have individual goals and together goals. We have things that we do with God together. We have things that we do with God separately.
Right.
We have things in purpose that we do together. FYI this. We have things in purpose that we do separately. Like Boy Just Rap.
I make music. Yeah. To whom it may concern is her thing. Lover League is her thing.
Yeah.
I just support it. I stand next to it. In any way I can help, I help. Because once again, even though it's one body, there are many members of the body. And in those many members, they have different functions, all moving forward. We have a vision for our house that it's one direction that we're trying to go. But in that one direction, there are so many avenues to take that me and her just have different giftings for.
Yeah, just like there's different members of one body, we are different people in one family.
Right.
We still have family goals, we still have couple goals, stuff like that, but we are still both individuals. Defining our own personality within our own relationship. I was just about to say, I don't think we had that problem. I think because we have such dominant personalities, we are who we are.
Yeah. She wasn't gonna come in and change the makeup of who I am as a person. And I don't think that was her goal. Right. No. And it's the same thing with me. I'm not trying to do that to her.
I think that's important. Not trying to change somebody. Like thinking that you're coming in.
But allow them to change on their own. Like I said, you gotta respect people's own growth track and their own time. Or
appreciate the difference. So what?
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah, just love and appreciate the difference. He said that I'm messy, right? And so Jared is, I don't know what the word would be. He's really meticulous. Right? Wouldn't you say that about yourself?
I would.
I'm messy. He's really meticulous. That could each drive each other crazy. But we realize that no, it actually works out fairly well in most cases because he is what I'm not.
Right.
I am what he's not. I'm usually What?
I was gonna say, when it came to making plans and stuff, I used to be so, if it didn't go according to plan, I would be so upset. I think one thing that her looseness has taught me is to, dude, chill, we can audible. And one thing my meticulousness has taught her is the importance of discipline and order. I don't want to speak for you, but yeah, I think that's one of the things you can feed off each other. That's my main point.
Yeah, for sure. We make each other better in that way, in being individuals, in having our own personalities and stuff. That's one of the ways it does work out. I actually have a morning routine. I was one of the most inconsistent people I knew of, not just in a messy way, but in just a free-spirited, free thinking type way. I would be all over the place in my thinking and in what I was going to do that day or whatever. And it would oftentimes show itself in the inconsistencies in how I went through my day. I had no real routine. It was just stuff happened as it had to happen. And then everything else was just what I was thinking of at the time. And now bringing real structure and intentionality are things that I feel like I picked up from him. And just like his go with the flow, I feel like he kind of picked up from me. Your personalities can play off each other.
Listen, to deal with each other, I think you have to.
Yeah, you do have to.
You have to. It's dwelling with each other with understanding, to what she spoke about earlier. You have to.
Legit.